How's it going, Scrub Gamers? Welcome back to another video here at Scrub Games, and today we have the Top Cut Breakdown Plus list for the EU event we had, which was the March Webcam Regional. First regional 2023 season, and we did have a load. We did have, I think, over 200 people sign up, but then when it did come down on the day, it only had 166 people, which is pretty good. Still quite good for online regional as well, as first one beginning. Over 100 players, 166 is nothing to scoff at. And it went on to have a good 7 rounds. It was scheduled to have 8 because we only had 1 undefeated after the 7th round, thanks to Tom Smith taking one for the whole majority of the player base. We managed to finish it in 7 rounds, and it went quite smoothly. A little bit of a bump in round 1, dealing with like translation issues, because as you know, difference between like the EU region compared to most other regions is we've got a majority of different languages in each of them, so we had a little bit of an issue round 1, and then it went on pretty smooth after that. So we had a lovely few rounds, no big issues, which is rare for most webcam events, especially as EU ones, especially considering last year and most of them since we started doing these. And yeah, we're going to go over the breakdown plus have a look at the list from the top 16 as well. But before we do go into that, feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. It really helps the channel out greatly, especially if you like me bringing out these breakdowns along with the lists. And because we're on our way to 1,000 subs, and every sub helps, every little bit helps as well. And we're hoping to hit there by the end of the year because we're over halfway there and going up slowly by a bit. And if you do subscribe, feel free to click the notification bell to get alerts to when my videos do drop, so that way you can find out when they have dropped and go watch them straight away if you want to. So without further ado, let's have a look at the breakdown and see what the top 16 decks were. So this is the top 16. So as you see, unlike the last, like the 2 Zenkai Cups we had, a lot less diversity. So as you see, before we've had, like, I think at one point we had about 15 different leaders, 40 different leaders, and then the next one we had about 11, and this one we only had 6 different decks that made top cut. So a lot less diversity than the last one, and a lot more dominance in red, which I imagine people are surprised and probably thinking we're not in the set 18 format anymore. We've moved to set 19 on, going on to set 20. So what's going on? And I don't know what to tell you really, because there were blue decks about. There were a fair number of different blue decks: Crimson, Gamma, 7Q, Beerus as well. But yeah, red just seems to be a bit more dominant, because in the EU we do like to try out different things and don't like to stick to it. Like a lot more, as we saw with the Worlds, a lot more of the other regions look to comment against Crimson, realizing it's the top in the format, where most of the other players, mainly the Americans, brought the Crimson deck because it's the best deck in the format, but there are counters for it. And with the first one, like the most represented deck in Top Cut we had were 6 SS4 Gogeta, so 6 of them. So even though it did get a hit in losing that like easy bit of defense with the Digging Deep Goku, it still is performing and a favored one in the EU. So taking up 6 slots, most of them being in the top 8 as well. Then we have 3 Shenron. I know people dropped Shenron because it lost Haze, so they didn't get that crit pressure, so people instantly thought it was bad. But it isn't bad, as we can see. It isn't a bad deck. It's still good, just people dropped it because it's lost that oppressive crit pressure. And also these did take the top 1st, 2nd, and 3rd slot as well. So Shenron, while not being the most represented, still being one of the highest represented in the Top Cut and taking the top 3 slots as well. And then we have 3 copies of Gamma. Expected blue is one of the color, probably the strongest or the main color people are fearing at the moment, because of the fact that it can counter red, and that's what it's there for. That's what is so popular, to counter red, because it's the boogeyman from the last format. And 3 Gamma bringing it in as well. 1 getting top 8 and the other 2 getting top 16. And then we have 2 Supreme card at a time, so 2 black decks still making it in. One of the people that have been playing in the last few events, Ollie, big notation, shout out to him, the 2nd place finisher at Worlds for 2022. And yes, Runecome's still making it known that black is actual color. Black is still good, and it's just there. It's one of the best black decks we've got at the moment. And yes, Runecome's a very good one, considering it got the new support, plus also got a indirect buff in the ban of God Sealing. It's going to be putting in some work as well. And we got 1 Crimson, so a Crimson did make it into it, just outside the top 8, becoming as we'll see in a bit. And as well as that, I imagine most people expect there to be more, but then after seeing Worlds, I imagine a lot more people saw that they could either saw how like easy it could potentially be to counter Crimson, or so they didn't want to play it. So they saw how easy it could be countered, so they didn't want to play it, or they saw ways they can counter it in different decks and wanted to play those different decks to counter it. So that could be a reason why, because there were a fair amount of blue, as I said, and yeah, one of them was stuck in. And then we got one golden freezer, so one yellow deck. The only color we're missing is green, because yeah, in a red format, green doesn't do the best. And as well as we've said before, if you've got like powerful decks like these in a format, why would you pick those over green when these are a lot more busted and unfair than a standard green deck? But yeah, that is it. So six different leaders, and yeah, a ton of red, and a little bit of blue, trickle black, and then a one single yellow deck that might make it in as well. And as usual, we're going to go and have a look at the list and not go over it in full detail, just have a look at the different ones. If you do want to like skip this and not bother looking at the list with me, then go ahead and look at the description box below. They have the links to the Deck Planet links for these decks as well. So we'll start off with the first one being Debbie Casanova. I do have to give a shout out, two shout outs really. First one to congrats to coming first place, going 7-0 for the event, taking it with Red Sin, a deck that a lot of people thought was dead and not as good anymore just because it lost one card, well, 4 copies of one card. And also shouts to Debbie as well, because he did help me get hold of the list as well, so much appreciated, and that to get so people can actually see them. So this was his list, pretty standard with the some of the Strand Dragons. Got a bit more control with with Rage. Adding a nice thing is that now we've got the Android 20 inherited will super combo. We have that, so now we've got a super combo, so you don't have to run the red yellow one, the Beerus one, which could potentially be a 5k if it hits a yellow or a non-red, which doesn't matter in this deck. But if you hit a yellow, you get a minus, and that doesn't affect barrier. And you've got Android 21 because you get Android 20 because you're going to always have Z energy unless you go into your Z lead, and then by the time you Z lead, you're still going to just need to have combo 2 cards in 2 different battles to get Z energy to have it live, and running the freezer as well to give that quick pressure to kind of replace Haze in a bit as well. So yeah, pretty decent list with the with all this. Even trusted Lackey Mai as well to help try and find the balls. A bit more of a ball searcher that kind of, you got 2 cards in here really that replace Haze, being the freezer, the crit pressure, and Mai being the ball searcher. And then we go on to the Z deck and the side. So for the Z deck and the side, we can see that he has standard we get in most decks, being the 1 Z leader for Shenron, 4 the SS4 Rush Attack SSB Vegeta, because it's just a busted card, a Z battle card, 1 of the Defender of Life for the burn, and then 1 of the Vegeta, the standard thing you normally get in most red decks, even the Gogeta one as well. In the side deck, a few nice little texts. The Ultimate Dragon Quake's a nice one. Topo in the side as well, some barrier removal, so nice little teched out things to help deal with different decks, because it was a best of 1 pre-side tournament. But that is first place. Let's have a look at second. So second place was Ferran Real. He came second as well with a similar deck. I say similar because it also got the freezers in to replace it. Doesn't have Trusted Lackey Mai, but then also the super combo he went with is the Beerus, so not much different with the Android 20. Different ways now it could be live, both being live very early at high life because Sin doesn't have the greatest management of its life to go down, and tech cards out like Omen Awakening help deal with certain things. So a little bit teched out. And then we go on to the side in Z deck. Z deck being a little bit different, having 2 SSB Vegeta surrounding impossible instead of the Defender of Life. Be interested to know why I'm not cutting that one out. It could be this one's a bit more useful. And then decided interesting to see the King Piccolo 5 seconds eradication. That's a nice little bird stratch. It's got barrier deflect. Comes out for 4 energy, which is quite costly, but can be pretty nice to just finish off that last swing. Because if they negate this card swing, you get the take a life to burn your opponent for a life as well. So that is the second place list. Then we go to third place, and that is by David Martin. Like most of these people you're going to see are ones that regularly top with EU events as well, and a little bit different in this list. So he's got the Android 20 super combos. He's got 1 copy of the hidden King Vegeta hidden ambitions as well in the main, and as well we're not seeing really like much tech or anything like that. No freezers for the third place list, and another freezer to get the crit pressure, and also no Trusted Lackey Mind as well. To like kind of find a bit more defensive with the Dragon Thunder and things like that. So a bit more of a defensive list. Z deck being the same as the first place, just a standard one for red, and then quite teched out with the side deck as well, having the Galactic Explorers is an interesting take. That's quite nice. It's quite a fun tech. More of an Awakening, Dragon Quake, and some other nice little techs. So those are all three sin lists because they all three sin lists came in the top three. So we move on to some more red, as you'll see that most of the top 8 is red. So let's have a look at fourth place, which was our first SS4 Gogeta one. So here we are, like standard thing for SS4 Gogeta. I think the main thing it changes with the main list, like the main core of SS4 Gogeta, is how many searching for rivals people use. So people use between 2 to 4. So 2, 3, or 4 is what most copies use, and how many of the one-drop Adventures Advent they find. But generally, most people are running 4 of the Unison, 4 of each Vegeta and Goku, Perez and Brawl, and 4 of each. I could place it at the main ones being the ones that you play out that get the draw 3 from the lead, and I place it at the pseudo rival cards. At least 3 of the 8-drop Gogeta, and then most of the time it's the Vegeta secret rare people are using, along with the 4 Raditz super combo. And then the rest of the cards come down to different tech choices. Like, for example, Tristan was using the Topo Negate as well. I know that's a fan favorite of our team member Biscuit, who loves to use that for his defense in most red decks. And then you've got the Barrier removal main, and also Beerus Ball as well for a card to deal with Floodgates as well. Because you can get because you can easily enough get yourself down to 4 life in this deck by you take yourself down to 6 when you awaken, at the very least. And then taking your life down with 1 with the SB Vegeta Z battle card, and a token negate when you put yourself down to 5. And then we go on to the side decks. As once again, the side deck's the same, just switch the Z leader for the Z leader for this, and then everyone's the same. And then having a side of Fervent Destruction, Quatsukai, Unexpected Turn is quite interesting, and the negate that can't be negated. So that is 4th place. Have a look at 5th. We got Kamino Gonzalez, who also brought SS4 Gogeta, and a little bit more teched out. So as you can see, the package is basically it's essentially the same, just a switch around of searching for rivals and Adventures Advent. We switched around the ratios of those, but then the rest of the cards are exact same ratio. Then a few different tech choices like maining Unending Awakening as a negate, Russian Warrior Pan, and a single copy of Hyper Rush Gotem. So yeah, not too much in terms of tech choices, which we'll see a more interesting one when we get further into the breakdown. Inside deck, a little bit of a difference in this one. Instead of going for the full place at rush attack, going for 2 Defender of Life, and then the side deck is normal tech cards you normally see in most of these lists as well. And then we go on to 6th place, and that is the first of the 2 Supreme Kai decks we see, imparted by Alfredo Rodriguez. So first Supreme Kai deck, I want to make top 16, top 8, and the other will make top 16. I'll see it soon enough. And yeah, similar to the list we saw in the Zenkai Cup, just with a main deck, SS Tenacious. And yeah, it's not much difference in the list from before. And in the side deck, you got the 3 each of Boo and Pan, and then 1 SSB Vegeta. And the side deck cards being just some really good tech cards to help deal with certain situations. And then we move on to 7th. And 7th place was David Perez, one of the Perez brothers. You see them probably pop up a lot. They're very good players in the EU community. And you can see a more teched out, a very teched out version of SS4. So once again, the main core package stays quite similar, with the ratios more being switched up between the searching for rivals and Adventures Advent. So once again, 3 of 1 for the other normally switch around. And then Awakening in this list as well for that defense, and then more teched out with at the bottom we see 5 different one-offs, being Fervent Distraction, Black Smoke, Piccolo, the Unbreakable, and the Frieza 17 Unison, along with a Hyper Rush Pan as well. So a bit more teched out. And then we go on to the side and Z deck. Z deck being the standard, and the side deck just having all those nice little texts for certain matchups. Then we come to the last of the top 8, being the 8th one. And of course, that is being the only blue deck to make top 8. So top 8 was heavy on the red, with one black and one blue deck making it. And here we have Tom Smith, aka Big O Ira Torm. Ira Nation. Ira Torm from Team Deck Planet, making it into the top 8 with, Gamma. Go with a pretty standard Gamma list. I think more teched out to deal with do against red, as we saw at the World Championships. I think a similar list. And yeah, blue being blue, with a little bit of green tech like the cheer and stuff in the Z deck to help deal with certain things. And yeah, it's Gamma. There's nothing more to say about Gamma. It's like a lot of androids shut together. And the side deck is where all the tech comes in, like the Tapion Unison, something that probably, as we saw with in the finals, dealing with things like the Golden Freezer in yellow to kind of get rid of a card that can't be removed by skills because it negates skills first. Not even a scratch for negates and stuff like that, just more tech cards. Congrats to Tom and congrats all to top 8. Now we move on to the other half of the top 16, and we'll start off with 9th. And that was the only Crimson list, being, I'm very bad with names, Corellio, Renez. I'm sorry if I butchered your name, but this is the Crimson list, so quite, I think this looks a bit more like the Vols list from Worlds, because it's got the Vols card, the Harudigram, also with the Kaioken instead of the Beast Gohan. Like we see most blue decks are running Beast Gohan because it's such a good secret rare. It's a very, very, very powerful secret rare in blue, and very teched out with different cards, like a few one-offs, a load of two-offs, especially with the Super Combo Split as well. And yeah, just being a very versatile teched out deck, being blue, a blue good stuff deck. Then we move on to the side, being the Z deck, and we've got the Z leader along with the every tech cards. I think the only one that some people do sometimes use is the Vegeta, so dropping down the Vegeta for a second cells we normally see. And in the side deck, teched out to help with certain things. Interesting to see Barrier of Hope back for barrier removal when you've got the Beerus. It'd be interesting to know how useful that was. But that is 9th. Then we move on to 10th. And that would be a never of the many SS4s we'll see in this top cut. I think this might be I can't remember if it's the 4th or 5th one. But this one's more of a little bit different. Same kind of package we see. None of the only difference with this package is it's got none of the Adventures admin in this deck. And instead we've got a nice little blue-red package for some cheaper 1Ks. Like the combo being the Freezer to help dump Tyranny's cost. So you have Rival Seeker Live to then have a free 10k for a bit more combo power. That's the one. And then Topo's a negate as well for this. So a little bit more style like how from when the first came out. But still pretty interesting as well. I think we've seen this before, this kind of thing, running the Rival Seeker as a tech. And on the side deck, same style as Z deck, and most of the cards we've already seen for most of these decks being teched out. Then we move on to 11th, and that is once again never mind. We'll just say Bowling. I cannot get up to it again. Bowling with his Golden Freezer. So the Golden Freezer top made it into 11th, and yeah, interesting choices. Well, we have been seeing with the Golden Freezer list the High Dragon Gohan Unison to be so you can recycle these little 1-drops to have follow free lead to get the untapped draw that you can bring out for free, so you technically actually get a free energy, and like if you play a 1-drop to do it, you're technically using up an energy to get it back and just fill it for your deck more. And none of the pan free drop that you can play off of when using it as the energy. We just got a playset of the cantrips, which is an interesting choice. And there's some people use the free drops so they can bring it out and have that barrier move, an extra dual attack as well. And we've got main deck the Freezer, Divine Transformation, and the Slug package, making a return in this one as well. And then for the side of this deck, so have a look at that. And also Bergamo, I haven't seen Bergamo in a yellow list for a good while. Most people have dropped it because it's a bit too costly in the current format. Then for Z deck, we've got one of the Vegeta, 2 Oolong, because Oolong's such a powerful yellow Z card, and then 2 of the Gohan and 2 of the Goku. In the side deck, we've got 3 of the Roshis to awaken, so that's in the side deck. So on the main deck, we're mainly hoping to awaken from taking damage, or the SSB Vegeta and Frieza Miraculous Streak. And there's other tech choices like Daisy Dispatch Dispo as well to help bring back without using energy if you got a clear board. And interesting to see Tyrannical Blow in the side rather than the main, but it's pre-sword, so you can always switch it in. So that's the Yellow Golden Frieza deck, and we go on to 12th. And that would be Oliver, big O notation coming in 12th with his Supreme Kai of Time. I'm not sure if much has changed since the last one. I haven't really checked into it, but I imagine he'll be doing a breakdown on his own channel, so go check it out if he does bring it. If any of these players do, or if there's any deck profile for any of these players' decks, there will be in the description below, so check back every afternoon if you want to see if one has popped up, if they don't see it online. But this is his list. I'm not sure if, once again, not sure if there's any difference to last time. And then in with the Z deck and side deck. CX, I think he managed to get the ones he was missing before. I think he was missing a pan before. And then, yeah, the side deck. I think there's much to say, and he'll probably say it better when he does his own video. And we got 13th place, being one of the ever Gammas. So you must be wondering, there's 3 Gammas in the top cut. Where are they? I haven't seen it. You've only seen 1. And that was in the top 8. And now we're going to see the ever 2. Don't worry. And this is the first of the ever 2. And this one's look a little bit different. So similar secret rare. As I said, most blue decks are running the Gohan secret rare, unless they want to be very defensive. I know some, maybe it used to be Hatch, but now a lot of blue decks are just switching to the Ghost Beast one because it's such a great one. And why would you not want to run a secret rare that can just make it so you only have to get your opponent down to 1 instead of 0 to finish off a game? And running the it's interesting to see them running the Black Smoke and Ape in there, which could be potential dead charges if you get them to energy off some of the cards that replaces them, like the leader. And then going down to the Z deck aside, so a bit more widened with the Z deck. So all one-offs apart from the Beerus section 2 because that's your barrier removal. And with the side deck, we've got the Dende to help deal with blue decks that ramp or replace their energy. A full placer, not even a scratch, and hold out Crimson until they can get their board established, which is very easy to do. And they're tech ones that blue has just to deal with certain matchups. So congrats. And then that will bring us to 50, so almost 40, so we're almost finished. And that is Ivan. I'm not gonna try. I don't want to butcher his last name, but Ivan from the Lookout. I know he's from Lookout. Lovely guy. Helped me basically made my logo, which I'm appreciative for, and really nice guy. Coming in top 14th with a deck he's been enjoying, and quite teched out as well. Like we've seen a return of the SS4 Gogeta 8-drop in his list as well, which is quite cool. So you don't see him often it. And Pilaf Missile as well, mainly is quite cool because you want to try and get this Unison and keep it around. I know people black smoke it, but they're still playing 2 energy to try and get rid of it, which is a bit of a plus. And then we've got some interesting ones like a Black Smoke in the main, Dark Broly. I know Dark Broly is going to be replaced in mostly every list when we get the new Overrealm in the current TPs, well not TPs, champion packs from the new regional season. And we go down to the side deck and Z deck. So Z deck being the same as almost every red deck, and interesting ones in the side. Like we got this Burning Impact. If you know what this does, it's a counter attack you can play for free if you have a Unison in play. And basically what it does is shuffle 2 battle cards from your opponent's drop into their deck. So if you want to play against Crimson, hold them off by putting their Saiyans back into the deck, because they need 5 in the drop to be able to awaken, as well as 4 less life. And interesting ones like King Piccolo. It'd be interesting to understand what, like a lot of people are checking this in, so it'd be interesting to understand why this card is being put in most of these SS4 Gogeta lists. And nice ones like Beerus Ball, Frieza Death Ball is pretty cool, and some of these nice little text in the side. So congrats. Then we move on to 15th, and that is our last SS4 Gogeta. So far we get through all the SS4 Gogeta. So many 9 red decks in the top cut is maddening. It does feel like we're back to some old formats, and a few different choices for this list. So most of the same, once again with the ratios for the main package. And the main difference we can see here is we've got some Trunks Delusion of Power in this one, which is an interesting choice, given that you're not off comboing much. Well, you're not comboing with battle card swings mostly. Like most of the time you're like swinging with the lead in the unison, and when you do swing with the 8 drop, if you drop it, you're not really allowed to combo when it swings. But you got some interesting tech like one Unbreakable as well. We've got the Trunks Journey's Beginning to get out, take life, put some grip pressure on. I think grip or double strike. Which one is it? It is double strike, and then one Hyper Rush, and also a Protected People as well. And then going to the side, and Z, this is one that has the one difference as well, being a second copy of Defender of Life instead of a 4th Rush attack. And then most of the cards we see in most of the sides. And then that brings us to the last one, being the 16th place. And you've probably guessed it, it is our last Gamma list, being Ivan Corellio with his Gamma list. And we can see he's got the main, not even the scratch, 2 copies of it. Once again, beats Gohan, Secret Rare, just such a good Secret Rare. And some other tech choices as well, some D-Magics, and yeah, it's like a standard, once again, another standard list. Running also the Boo Unison and some Beerus Destroyers. Then we go on to the Z deck. So Z deck being similar to most of the other ones. Just there's only 2 of us, being the Beerus and the Cell, being very good Z-Val cards. And the interesting thing about this one is that he's got in the side a Perfect Force Cell, so that's quite interesting. I would like to know how many times he potentially sided this, and if he did side it, how many times he pulled it off. That would be very interesting to know. And apart from that, like most of the tech cards in most side decks. But that is it. That is it for the breakdown. That is all the lists. Remember, if you do want to check them out yourself, just have a look at deck plant links. Head to the description below. That is where the links are. If you go straight to them, if you want to ignore all this. And if you have watched it, thank you for watching. It's much appreciated. And I'll bring out as many of these as I can for the EU events when they come about. So I think the next one we've got is next month in April. The next one at the beginning. I think we got 3 in it. No, I think at least 2 in April. We got an offline one and an online one. I'm hoping to attend, maybe actually play in the next 2. So once again, thank you for watching. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye for now.